Ready to go.
Alrighty, ladies and gents, welcome to the show. We have got a big show for you here, the Pound Armwrestling Show. We're going to have a whole bunch of stuff going on tonight. Awesome. Something new. We haven't done anything like this before. But gents, welcome. We got Lockie, we got Tom, we got Jordan. Gents, how was the week?
Tell me honest.
Hey, you got a good story, right?
Apart from shitting through the eye of a needle.
Tell us more. How did that come about?
Oh, mate, Friday night I made this sardine dish and didn't go down too well. All day Saturday, all day Sunday.
Well, it went down great, apparently. And out.
Down and out. But it wasn't good. It wasn't good.
Oh, mate. You work high-rise sort of stuff too, don't you?
I do. I've been working off a boom, a couple stories here and there. You know,
the guys below you or what?
Today was a bit iffy, but yeah, no, it was good.
Nice. How's the arm wrestling going?
The arm wrestling's good. You know, at my age, I think trying to not injure myself is the key.
How old are you?
47. 46. No, 46. 46. Or is it 47? I don't know. I'm close to 50.
There you go. That's not too bad. You're pretty strong. We'll give it to you.
Thanks,
Lockie, how you been, mate?
Yeah, good, man. Busy week, training. Haven't hit any PB. Oh, no, I've hit some. Chucking things around, carrying on like a Neanderthal, but, apart from that, everything's going pretty good. So
we're actually going to be calling. I don't think he's your coach, but he's kind of a co-coach, isn't he? Raimonds Liepins.
Yeah, they have their own separate teams, as far as I understand, but they obviously work closely together. We see in Voice of Arm Wrestling all the time, working together. So Raimonds Liepins.
Raimonds Liepins got you on the side pressure.
Yeah.
Seen some big numbers coming out of your gym. Though.
Yeah, but 110 kilo side pressure.
Yeah.
I'm a ways off that.
You guys are nuts.
That's impressive.
I just want to keep throwing you onto my handle because you look like you're lost there. So I'll keep that.
I figured that out.
I figured it out?
Yeah.
We're not invited over again. Jordan, man, how about you? Normal week?
Yeah,
What's a normal week for you in the arm wrestling world?
Oh, well, it isn't really a normal week. I've had a week off work, so I'm having...
So you had more training than usual?
Yeah, more training than usual. I'm on a nice progressive overload training system at the moment, just trying to get all my numbers up and get my shoulders nice and healthy for upcoming matches.
Nice,
so.
yeah. You've got a big match coming up, which we'll talk about later on the night. Armfights Unleashed cards have been announced, and we're going to see that you're fighting for the belt.
Yeah, so are you.
It's a $500 belt,
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
It'll look good.
Yeah, I'm going for a belt holder, commentator, and host and owner of Pound for Pound. I'm going to go for the lot.
That's a busy day. Yeah.
Anyway, all right, let's kick it off tonight's show with pretty much a generic topic that is a popular one, particularly amongst the newcomers to the sport, and that is the fundamental strengths of arm wrestling. What are they? And I want to ask you guys, which one is your favourite and why? So the fundamentals of arm wrestling, as I know them, Devin Larratt taught us when he came out here. We got back pressure, we got cupping, we got pronation, and we got side pressure. Now, I've heard different people have different opinions on which one's the most valuable. I've heard Devin say, "I've almost convinced myself that cupping's everything," and then you've got people like I guess King's movers with pronation. So, what do you reckon, Lockie?
I think I'm going to be Switzerland. You can't have too much without the other. So you're predominantly a top roller, and there's some issues there with your shoulder, and there's some other weaknesses that can kind of come up. And I just think you need all of it. Like, my pronation is nothing without a strong cup and rise at the same time. So, and arm wrestling isn't one-dimensional. So if we get taken somewhere, we've got to have a little something to be able to counter whatever's happening. So
That's true.
Interesting. I know, Jordan, you're someone who started from a very let's just say a weak starting point.
Well, it's polar opposite to where Lachlan started.
You were probably the strongest kid on the block when you started.
Well, if you're counting 8-year-olds.
Skinniest or the...
What's the story? When you started, you could reach...
Yeah, so when I started arm wrestling, I could touch those two fingers.
That's pretty good say.
Wow.
I came out of 10 weeks of a cast from breaking my scaphoid bone in my wrist. And I literally could touch those two fingers, and I can barely do that on my wrist now. So
there you go. Now, what has been your path in fundamental strengths, and where you're at now? Which one do you value most?
I'd say that my fundamental strength is knowledge.
Well, you're adding the fifth wheel in.
I'm out of the box here.
Wizardry. I like that. I like that.
Because I didn't have any strength when I started, and working my way up, I needed to know how to beat guys that were bigger than me, better. Now, obviously, I need to put on greater strength to beat those guys, in my sights now, but when I started, I just needed a bit more technique and to have a good recovery in my wrist from a broken wrist. So
But what if you were weak and short? Because it's undeniable that you have an pretty incredible leverage advantage, especially for your weight class. So to say that, we're talking about fundamental strength, but we've got genetics to begin with.
Yeah.
And those leverages are. You just can't get it. Yeah,
if you're weak and short, you're in a bad place.
I think if you're a weak and short person coming into the sport,
stick to IT.
You'd seriously just be going on wrist rise and back pressure and trying to get that connection straight towards yourself. That way, everything's closer. And like for me as a long arm, that just went like down like a friggin' sack of bricks. Like it was just anytime someone went out, I was like, my arm is down.
Yeah.
I had no bicep. I had not a lot really. So, it's really hard for a long arm person that's weak too because their arm just opens as soon as someone drags them out. So,
so hand control was your thing.
Yeah. I think the ability to connect with your arm and lat without losing your hand is probably the biggest one. So cup, I guess, and then lats.
I guess we could argue that all day, really. Like it's all connections. That's the fundamental strength.
Yeah,
is
exactly. Yeah,
connections.
And we're going to get to that later on when we actually call Raimonds and talk about is this sport a strength sport or a combat sport? I think that's a nice segue. But Tom, I want to know about your opinion.
Well, look, I do agree with Jordan with the knowledge. When I first started, it was I've got a strong hand from work. Just working all my life, so it is strong. So I just sort of took that was my go-to post and top roll. What you showed me, that was the only move I had. Was just
that's all I started.
Do that, and then the flop press.
Yeah.
But now 5
you could
years
add
on,
a six wheel, just willingness to break stuff.
Well, it's either gonna. That's exactly right. You either win or you break. That's the mentality of most arm wrestlers.
Yeah.
But I think now I've been in it for only 5 years.
Yeah.
Not long enough. I wish I knew this sport when I was 20.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Well,
yes, I'm in it for 5 years.
How old were you when you started? You said you're 47, 6?
I was about 40, 42, 43.
That's not too late.
thereabouts.
Not too late. Tim Bresnan started in his 40s.
I'm not giving up, I can tell you that. I'm not giving up. And even if something breaks, I'm using the other arm. And then if I can't do that, I'm going to be a ref.
We've had this discussion before too. Like, you train way too hard. Like, you're always breaking stuff because you're always taking it to breaking point. Yeah. So there's Devon talks about how you've always just got to feel good. Like, he trains 3 times a day, but he doesn't ever feel or achy at any
And this is the
point.
knowledge thing that I'm trying to say is that over the past 5 years I've learned that.
Yeah, it's not just table IQ. It's
back off a little bit. Feel good about your training. Come back. It's how much you've lifted over the time rather than how much you've lifted just in that one day.
That time under tension.
Yeah. I can certainly say I've had a massive evolution of what I valued most in the sport. I started it with a all hand control / wizardry, let's call it technique, approach. I just believed that leverage was king, and that was what mattered. And at the novice level, it really did have an enormous impact. Against other novices, it just changed. They could be twice your strength, and you beat them. Because you're both novices, but you now understand technique before they do. It really changes the game. But as you climb the ranks, first time I dipped my toe overseas into an international match, I won the hand. Justin Bishop just buried me anyway. And I went, oh, hang on a second. What's going on here?
That was kind of my first year and a half, having already been like from powerlifting and already had strong arms and strong shoulder connection. So it was like, if I could just get in, I was fine, but I kept on going, woof. Anyway, things are different now.
Yeah. Those freaking top rollers, just peeling you open.
I'm one of them. I'm one of them now. It's even worse. I've joined you.
Yeah. I honestly feel like technique starts, hand control second, which includes cupping, pronation, and then back pressure. And then the last element, I think, is the raw side pressure where it starts to get nasty. I think training side pressure as a novice is probably going to end in a broken arm and a comp.
We had one of the guys in the club actually come to me last week at training and say, oh, mate, I've really hurt my inner elbow. I've been trying to do side pressure like Ryan and Lachlan. And I'm like, well, there's your issue. you're
not ready.
6 months in.
Yes, 6 years.
Maybe hold back a little bit.
Yeah.
Get those other fundamentals up, and then in time, your body will be ready for it.
I would argue though that people come in, I have a strong hand, and then you go, really? Whoop. Like there's a difference between having a strong hand and an arm wrestler's hand.
Knowing how to use it. Yeah.
Well, there's that too, but when I was thinking, I'm starting to get some good gripper strength and stuff like that, it didn't mean nothing until I really got strong hands, and that takes a lot of time. So there's people's perceptions.
Yep. Gents, before we take a break, I've prepared a quiz for you all tonight. Now,
here we go.
It's a 10-question quiz. Now, covering all topics arm wrestling.
Oh gosh.
So I'm gonna have to just keep this close to my chest because the answers and the questions are all written on the back side of this.
Time to lose some credibility, boys.
I've got none to lose. So.
I don't know who's gonna take this out, but anyway, no peeking. Eyes on the cameras, gents. I want you gun barrel answers, okay?
And what do we have to? Okay.
We need a quiz in. So Anvil.
Mm-hmm.
Starlord.
We've got to change that.
And somebody
something different.
I like Dr. Strange.
And you can have that if you want. Anyway, so I will just determine who got the call, and then you give us your answer. If you get it wrong, we'll pass it on. All right.
I'm just going to sit here like this.
Test your buzzer. Test your
Reach
buzzer.
up.
Well, good. What was that? No, I'm not going to count that.
Damn it. What am I, Starlord?
Yeah, there we go.
Anvil.
That's nice. Oh, good deep anvil there. All right.
It's an anvil.
Question one.
Anvil.
Starlord.
Question one. How old is John Brzenk?
Starlord. 52.
56.
Reacher.
I didn't do the 6.
Wrong. You get a free crack at it.
55.
Correct. 1 point. Lachlan Adair. On one.
Subterfuge.
We're all in the 50s there.
Yeah. 55 years old. All right. Question number 2. Who coined the phrase "can opener"?
Reacher. Never know.
Well done. All right. Reacher on 1. You got to keep your own scores because I'm going to forget. All right. Can't believe you guys didn't know that.
I was.
Were you just tongue-tied?
I was like, who's going to call that?
Okay. All right. Question number 3. Who is older, Sarah Rotunda or Gabriela Vasconcelos?
Anvil.
Anvil.
Gabby.
Yes, Gabby is older.
I don't know if you were
I don't actually know how old Gabby is, but I'm pretty sure she was born before 1991, which is when Sarah was born. So let's go to that one.
1991. We'll just look at the maths. How many WAFs has Gabriella won? 20?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
And who's going to win the match?
Sarah. No, okay. Come on, Gabby. Come on. All right, question number 4. In what year was the movie Over the Top released?
Starlord watched it.
Ooh, I heard Anvil there. I heard Anvil.
74.
No, way off. Way off. 70.
Reacher. 87.
Correct, Reacher. Oh, 87.
And I've never watched it.
Really?
Should have said that.
That's crazy. I think you're on 3, you're on 2, Tom. You have to be
zero.
on
I'm on
board. You on 2?
Yeah.
I'm on 2.
All right, so 2, 2, and 0. Nice. Question number 5. How many fouls in a WAL match?
Anvil.
3.
Reacher. 3. Come on,
running.
Star Wars.
Just freaking
You're old, guys.
told you,
I guess you're
I'm
strong,
too
but you're not
slow.
fast reaction. Question number 6. What nationality is Igor Mazarenko?
Anvil.
Reacher.
Do you want me to read them out?
No, incorrect.
Ukraine, right?
Correct. Yes, I thought you guys were going to say Polish because he lives in
I was
Poland.
going to say Polish.
He lives in Poland, but he's from Ukraine.
I knew he wasn't Russian,
I
so
know
what's
it
the closest thing?
I know there's one of those.
Nice. All right, so 3-3 now with old Starlord here. Just watch it. All right, question number 7. Who won the 2015 WAL 220-pound class?
That's wrong. That's his first answer.
Oh no, do we lock that one? What do you reckon? Tom, do you want a free shot? Quick,
No,
go,
no,
Tom.
no.
Say it.
Devon Loran.
Wrong.
220 pound.
220-pound class, 2015.
John Brzenk.
John Brzenk retired on that match, beating Devon Larratt 2-1. All right, question number 8. So we got 4-3, 0. Thanks to Jordan thinking he won the WAL that year.
Of course. No chance, John. No chance.
All right. Question number 8. What does the acronym IFA stand for?
International Federation of Arm Wrestling.
The International Anvil Federation. Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah. 5-3-0. All right, Richard, you need these last two to send it to a tiebreak.
All right.
Question number 9. Who is the president of the IFA?
Anvil. Shit, I don't know.
Richard.
Do you want to put in a...
No, I don't know.
I know the face. I just can't.
Anders Carlson.
Yeah.
Anders is the first name, but Carlson is no. One more go at that.
Just forgot his last name. I'm sorry, Anders.
Half a point for Anders. You want a half point? What is his surname?
I don't know.
Yes, Axlow. We'll take it. Anders Axlow. There it is.
I was like,
5-0-4. All right. Okay. Question number 10. What constitutes a king's move foul?
Richard. Shoulder below the table. Table line. Yeah.
In a what?
In a losing position.
Or?
Neutral position.
Okay, I'll take that.
No,
5 all.
it's wrong. It's below the pad.
It's below the
It's
table.
below the
Take that.
table.
5 all.
How does that make sense? Below the
Your
table?
shoulder's going to go below the table.
That's stupid. It should have been under the pad. Under the table. You still get underneath it. They've not thought about that.
It's 5 all. Tom,
But-
what do you reckon we make these guys do for a tiebreak? I didn't plan a tiebreak. We got the table coming later on. This guy's going to go at it. But
How about?
how about can you
Push-ups.
Push-ups? Nah. Question. Okay. What is who has pulled the most arm wrestles in Australian Arm Wrestling Federation history?
Anvil.
Richard.
You. Me. Yeah. There we go. All right.
Just because I know how many times you've lost.
I do. I've lost more than anyone. That's for sure.
I'm creeping up on that, though.
You are catching me. Anyway. Ladies and gents, we're going to take a quick break here, and when we are back, we're going to be on the phone with Raimonds Liepins, who is the host of Voice of Arm Wrestling and the president of the Latvian Arm Wrestling Federation, and we're going to be talking with him about is arm wrestling a strength sport or a combat sport? All right, see you guys then.
Ready to go.
Alrighty, ladies and gents, welcome back. This is the Pound for Pound Arm Wrestling Show. We have got Lachlan, Tom, Jordan here, and you guys got off to a pretty good start in the show. Well, actually, Tom, I
got off to a shit start.
I had a lot more hope in you, but you let us down a little bit there. Did we? Who won in the end?
Me.
Jordan.
Oh, I won.
The split. Yeah.
I got.
Yeah.
I was waiting to hear WAL, and you said Australian.
Yeah, and I went to the Australian Arm Wrestling Federation instead. Yeah, I had to come up with a question off the top of my head, so it was tricky. But anyway, gents, earlier in the show we were talking about the fundamentals of arm wrestling, which one's the most important, and it was leading into the conversation: is arm wrestling a strength sport or a combat sport, or some combination of both? What do you guys think? General opinions.
Combat.
You're going to say combat, Jordan?
Straight up combat.
Which way are you going?
I'm Sweden.
You're swinging?
I'm Sweden.
Sweden.
Yeah.
What does
Same
Sweden
thing.
say?
Yeah.
Then neutral.
Combat. Then neutral.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that it's a mix of both. But actually,
But it is a strength sport. But in most combat sports, you have to be fairly strong in that thing to be able to do your thing.
I guess the
succeed.
differentiation is that, unlike, I don't know, other tactical sports, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but there's a fair degree of strength training in arm wrestling. So, is it a strength sport? Yeah, 50-50 with combat. It has to be
I
both.
think at
when
the
you're
end of the day,
competing, it's combat, man.
Yeah, but it has to be both.
for me, what defines a strength sport is a human against an object, where the object's the same thing for everyone.
Yeah.
Combat sport is human against human. I think this is a combat sport where strength is a major factor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
What
Anyway.
percentage? Give me a
How
percentage.
about we
Oh,
go
percentage.
trade?
Folding.
Percentage?
Look,
Are we-
Percentage? I'm going to go. I at the novice level, it's like 80-20 combat to strength, and then the higher you get up the channel, everyone can move well, and it becomes strength more so. I believe so. The table turns. But anyway, let's get an expert on the line who's been doing this longer than all of us combined.
wait,
maybe.
hold on.
Oh, yeah. Raimonds Liepins, is that you on the line?
Yeah.
Hey, we got Ray. You even sounded a bit Aussie then,
Hey
mate.
guys.
Welcome, Ray. Mate, Ray, I noticed that yourself and your partner in crime, Giannis Amelins, put out a YouTube video yesterday about this topic.
Yeah, Jan is cool.
Yeah, how do I say it? I got to get
Avalanche.
this. Avalanche?
Yeah. What's the rule with that? Because you've got Raimonds Liepins and then you've got like Giannis. You know, that's an S, but it's not a sound.
No. Listen, it's Raimonds Liepins and it's Giannis Amelins.
Amelins.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not Liepins.
There you
Liepins.
go.
Yeah, Liepins. Yeah, what I'm
Yeah.
asking, what's the rule? Because Giannis's first name is pronounced with an S, not the SH.
Is it Yanish?
Giannis sound, yeah.
Anyway, we got a delay on the line. Poor old Ray's not going to understand four of us talking at the same time. But anyway, Ray, you and Giannis put out a video about this one yesterday. I saw it. I watched it, enjoyed it as I was doing the dishes. I was watching the YouTube premiere. You get hammered all the time from a lot of new people in the sport talking about that it's a very simplified sport, isn't it? And you disagree, don't you?
Yeah, I disagree majorly with this one. I just got so many comments that I was just very frustrated, and I needed to address it. And like you said before, the longer you get into the sport, more you see about it. Before just looking from outside, it looks very simple. These two guys on table, arm wrestling, like who beats who, like, oh, that's what it's all about. More you get into it, you find it like, well, if I use this technique against this guy, maybe I can beat him. Or if I made this wrong decision, this is why I lost. Well, also there's referee. Also there are different rules, you know. Also time differences and things like that. So it's super complicated sport coming from every level. Like just training for it. Like I don't have enough time in a day or in a week to train everything I would want it to train for arm wrestling. You know, and because it's so much attributes, and you find out like where you're very good and where you're very, very bad, and you want to work on both of them. You want to get your bad things be as little as possible, and your strengths to be super high level. So arm wrestling, it's not basic. That's what I want to say.
I've always thought about the technique side or the combat side of it as though it's a dance. And if you're leading the dance, I feel like you can afford to be a little bit weaker than your opponent. Would you agree with that, Ray?
Yeah. So, sometimes we have, like, from my experience and what I have seen, guys that have been like really physically weaker, but they're smarter on table. They win those matches just because they will make you play their game. They will set these traps, and guys gonna fall into those traps. So, like, is it strength? Is it combat? Is it chess? It's everything. It's everything, and it just changes your levels on where you want to be. Like what you're focusing more will change as you progress. At one part, you want to get stronger. At one part, like you're strong enough, you want to get more tactical. You know, things like that.
And then we, of course, have people like the Richard Lupkes types, the Levan Saganishvili types that are just so much bigger and stronger than their average opponent. That their combat side is quite simplified compared to a typical lightweight. What do you think of that sort of relationship between strength and technique?
It's like that. Like it doesn't matter who you are on this earth, you are beatable. But one day, in one competition, and all of them, Lucas has lost and Levan has lost. All is that how they improve, because Levan has increased his technical skills tremendously through the past 3-4 years since he started losing in World Championship finals to Quiquinha and with right arm and things like that. So you work on it. Yes, it was strength that got him so far. Then he lost, and then being pretty smart arm wrestler, he recuperated and he trained more. Strength is gonna like bring you at some level, and then you're gonna lose. Tsiplenko has lost. Everyone has losses on their resume. It's how you deal with that loss. Are you just gonna headbutt straight in the wall and keep doing what you're doing? Are you gonna get better actually where you lost and don't let it happen again?
Same thing, only harder. Isn't that a Devon Larratt?
That is. I got a question. With what style of arm wrestling do you think has the greatest propensity for longevity? So is a top roll, is that less damage on your inner elbow or your shoulder, or, it seems like the arm wrestlers who are in it the longest seem to be top rollers for the most part.
It should be top roll. It should be top roll, because we have so much damages on inside of our elbow that it's preventing you to pull inside too much. But we still have good guys like Todd Hutchings that can do it. Jerry Cadret, a lot of top-level guys can still do it.
And what do you think?
Top roll is better for longevity and health,
What do you think is different about the way they approach their training and even arm wrestling style that allows them to get that longevity in positions that most people can't?
It's very hard to define, find out what they're doing with their training. I think they're just those kind of individuals, because we have seen a lot of guys doing the same things and their elbows are not surviving. So I think it's one part is either they have some super good formula that stays them healthy and strong for very long, or they are just one out of the million. Like it's the same thing that goes with John Brzenk, as John said. Like he didn't train that much with weights, but he trained just in arm wrestling practices and get stronger and got at world level. Like we don't see that much happening because that was one person in history. Maybe we have 2, 3, maybe 10 more who don't arm wrestle.
So for someone who works mainly inside, you're a press and hook type arm wrestler in competition, at least for the most part, what I've observed anyway. What percentage of top roll versus hook training do you have in your week?
It's about like 20% of exercise I'm gonna do that I'm gonna focus on pronation. But from all my rotation, more rotation is about 50%. All my angle work is going through pronation. I want to keep that arm straight in neutral position. I don't like those deep hooks with bicep hooks. Like that hurts my elbow more than just pressing through.
Yeah.
But
I'm with you.
Pronation is very big, very, very, very big part of good hook. Keeping that position, you want to stay in that position.
Yeah, for me, pronation is what has kept me alive in so many matches. I feel like I can lose essentially all the other fundamentals and be an inch from losing, and I'm still in the match because of that pronation. So that's my favorite.
You like how you stop those matches, and when opponents are driving right in your arm. I'm talking about you, Ryan, specifically, and you stop them just because your pronation is so good that the arm is not turning any other way, and you can work from that. So just you can train. It's hard to train something. I think that is just your style. That is what you got, and just making it stronger will make you even better.
I feel like that pronation came from tennis for me. I feel like my years of hitting hundreds of thousands of topspin forehands gave me great pronation. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I tell myself.
I mean, it's a good way to start.
Let's believe that, and everyone is signing up for tennis.
What do you say?
That's the key.
I got this.
I say good luck to anyone
always
arm wrestler that wants to play tennis now.
You go and have a look at Rafael Nadal's forearms. Rafael Nadal's forearms. He could walk
forearm.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He could walk in to arm wrestling and I think pick it up very well.
He would have one session and never play tennis again.
It pays well too, arm wrestling. He pretty much on par with tennis.
Yeah, that's right.
What his training says.
Yeah. Anyway, wrapping it up, mate. Where do you sit on this? Strength, combat, or firmly in the
combination?
Middle?
Combination, and much more. Without strength and combat, it's more. It's more.
If you had to put numbers
and
on
everyone,
where would you be?
The longer you are in the sport, you will find out it soon. Sorry, I didn't get it.
Oh, if you had to put numbers on that, so like a percentage of where you think it's, combat to, strength sport, where would you put those percentages?
60% or 70% strength, 25% combat, and 5% something else. like
Tennis.
all the other
5% tennis.
tennis, goddamn it, tennis.
All right, Ray, thank you so much for joining us tonight or this morning, whatever it is for you over there in Latvia. It's evening for us here in Australia, but thank you either way.
Thank you guys.
Oh, quick comment though. 110 kilo side pressure.
Ah, yes.
Oh boy, that's massive. Well done.
Yeah, keep going with those videos.
I felt super good. Never done that much before. My hand felt control, which never happened before.
Yeah.
So feeling very good, strong. Thank you guys. Thank you for having me, and stay strong. You love arm wrestling.
Beautiful. Take care, mate.
Thanks, Ray.
I just got to say, mate, how awesome is it that in the arm wrestling community, being able to just talk to an A-grade arm wrestler, one of the best, on the other side of the planet.
One of the best coaches too.
Yeah, and he's got time to just have a yak with us.
Yeah. It is amazing how the sport has opened up. Technology's allowed us to share information like never before. And as you've said there, and you touched on it, the community of arm wrestling internationally is
The
not like anything else.
between everyone. Even though there's banter and shit stirring, and you might not like one guy. You know, and I know everyone has one guy.
There's one guy at the moment, but I'm not going to say it.
Everyone's got one guy that picks on you.
Yeah.
Me as a ref, I've got more than one.
You got a few,
There's a few guys that don't like me.
Yeah. But the arm wrestling community is better than any other sporting community I've been part of, and it's the way to go. But ladies and gents, what we might do is take one more break, and then we'll be back to the last segment of the show. We're going to be announcing the Armfights Unleashed roster and the format. It's going to be kicking off very soon here in the Oceanic region, and it's going to be right after the break.
Ready to go.
Alrighty, ladies and gents, welcome back. We are here on the Pound for Pound Arm Wrestling Show. We're having a blast tonight. There's all sorts of craziness going on behind the scenes. But, ladies and gents, so I just called you. Which one of
Ladies
you is
and
the lady?
You know what?
Given that you got 0 in the quiz, probably you're going to have to take that
We're
one.
going with the
Anyway.
ladies, eh?
We're going to dump that through for next week.
Gents, we've got the Armfights Unleashed Oceanic series about to kick off. It's been announced on the Pound for Pound Arm Wrestling channel on Facebook just yesterday. The cards have been released, and interestingly, we're going to see 3 title belts fought for and awarded. What do you guys think?
It's going to be damn good.
It's exciting. It's exciting. I think it's exciting because what I love about it most is that anybody can be the champ. There is no invitation only list.
Yep.
This is if you turn up and win a tournament, you'll find yourself on an Armfights Unleashed card. You win 3 matches on that, you're holding up the belt.
The only sucky thing is once you're in that little ladder there, you lose one, you're out.
Yeah, that's it.
You just have to win another comp though.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
And then you have to win another whole freaking comp. Like, come on, Ryan, can't you just...
You want some old man privilege or something?
Yeah, I do.
Over 40.
And I want to start over here.
So interestingly, Jordan, you are featuring in this in the lightweight title match.
Yes.
Taking on.
Why aren't I in 95s as well? I mean, I won a comp at 95s. Too.
Well, not an Armfights. Was it an Armfights?
Yeah,
Well, anyway, well,
Ryan was scared.
Anyway. So you're facing Grant Tolentino.
Yep.
He is historically a man that is incredibly dangerous when his mind's on the game.
Most pins on Danny Tesh.
Exactly. Exactly. No man in Australia's pinned Danny Tesh more than Grant Tolentino. Yep. Nervous about the match?
Oh, of course. Anytime Grant comes to the table serious, it's a really hard match to win. I mean, he's fast. He's obviously been in the sport longer than I have. He's got some hideous strength feats that he's done in previous times. So any time that he comes into a match ready, and he says he's ready, then I'll take it as serious as it comes.
It's a perfect matchup because we've got Mr. Hand Control, more leverage, big hand, where Grant has, he's shorter, he has a smaller hand, and he's pure speed.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a really interesting, but the thing is his hits, even if he gets stopped, he can still crack.
Yeah.
And it hurts.
I know. I've been pinned on left arm by Grant without turning anything on. I thought I had my top roll set. that move ready, go, and my hand was down there. And I'm like, why is that happening?
Yeah. It really is like that. You're like, well, how? What? Okay.
Yeah, Tom, what are your thoughts on this one?
No, look, I think if Grant is switched on for the day, Jordan's in trouble. But
I admit that fully. Yeah.
But if you're fired up,
but yeah, if you're fired up like you were at WAL,
you both
at Arnold's,
Yeah.
mate.
Yeah, you both are a
Game's on.
different level when you get angry, and we've seen both versions of both guys.
Yeah, we have.
It's interesting because this being the inaugural, I guess, opportunity to take this belt, I think it means something a fair bit. To be that first person to hold up the belt, and then your title defenses will begin. So and before we talk about the other weight categories, I wanted to share with you guys the format specifically. We touched on it, but essentially every 4 to 6 weeks we're going to have a tournament. So it's going to go tournament, and then an Armfights Unleashed. So if you win a tournament, you are into Armfights Unleashed. If you lose on that table, you drop out. The bottom rung has 4, then 2, then the champ sits there at the top and basically watches it. So what I like about this is that you can sit there and say, I've defended my belt 11 times, or whatever it may end up being.
Yep.
And you can develop prestige, and you can actually become a legend of the sport by having an immense amount of title defenses. So if you can start from the beginning, it's a good place, because Grant won't be back at least for another
couple rounds.
how's it going to work internationally? Are we going to get people internationally that have to do a tournament, or is it going to just it'll be
question.
go in by an opinion you deserve?
I'm glad you do ask that, because the other regions of the world will all in time be fully functioning as we are here in Oceania. We are going to first of all prove the model here in Oceania. North America is probably the one that we'll take up next. Travis Bajan is dabbling in this at the moment. He may be the coordinator for North America. That's all information to come out soon, hopefully. But it would be the same thing. There have been people already involved in the North American Armfights Unleashed. People like Justin Bishop, Paul Lynn, Dan Mosier, those sorts of guys, Marcio Barboza. All these guys have featured in Armfights Unleashed over there. So if anyone is going to start on the rungs already, it's those guys. So who would be determining? I'd have to probably consult a panel between myself, Travis, and probably you guys as to who would be in the first match for the hammer, for instance, in each weight category.
The belt.
I'm so used to saying the hammers. Hammers have taken over this sport, but yeah, the belt. I should have brought one along to show everyone. But anyway, and then once the ball's rolling, I think it's going to be really good. And as I was saying before, I feel like the strength of this is that it's indiscriminate. Anyone can become the champ.
Are we going to have a European contingent?
Let's hope so. The man that was on the phone earlier, Ray Liepins and Giannis, they have expressed interest in this model as well. So, because they've obviously, over there in Europe, they've been typically a very close with the WAF and Europeans, and now there's this division going on there. So, to have a channel for athletes to pursue that is a no contract, no politics,
paid,
yes. Yep. That's the big thing. The whole mission of this is to essentially make arm wrestlers pay the way athletes are meant to be. Yep. So through products like this show going out, we are going to grow this sport, and we're going to get amazing. You and I actually, we're going to be building. We inspected the premises today, and we're going to be building a studio that is, in my brain, and I'm sure Tom can make it come to life, ESPN standard quality.
Better.
The show is going to look amazing.
ESPN don't have a wog like us. This guy, that's amazing.
I get it all cheap for cash.
Cash money.
I love it. But I'm so excited genuinely about what this digital product's going to look like in the end. And it's just going to be fun for arm wrestlers to get involved, and knowing that they're going to be paid once they make that elite level. And
the training facility too. It's going to be it's going to be awesome, because those handles, I mean, we shell out so much of our own cash for handles, and
I carry around a bag. I swear, someone can steal my car, but if they take my gym bag, I'm going to be cut.
Yeah, I actually had my car broken into. They flogged my wallet, spent like $1,000 at the newsagents on like little lotto tickets. I mean, fair enough. But they left my gym bag, and I was like,
Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
I couldn't care about the cars. I got all the money back. I don't have cash. I'm not.
I don't have cash. ATO's gonna freaking not cash money.
Anyway, the other contenders that are going to be in that lightweight that card, obviously yourself and Grant are the first ones to go for the belt, but we've got
Sam Burnett,
Zurab. So Sam Burnett, a Queensland-based arm wrestler, young gun, walked into the sport with an immense amount of talent.
Yeah,
Zurab. Georgian-born, New Zealand resident,
beast,
very experienced, very capable.
Oh, mate.
Hard to stop for anyone.
Yeah.
And then we've got Mickey Lon. How do I say this name? I always get it wrong.
Loncharovic.
We're on a mission to get all names right
we're gonna
tonight.
try tonight.
Wait till we get to the super heavyweights. I'm going to struggle.
no, I got it.
He's got it.
So we got Mickey Loncharovic.
Yep.
Look at that, Mickey.
Chatterbox.
And we've got, you want to do, can you do it? Seong Cook Park?
Seong Cook Park.
Seong Cook Park.
He's Korean, is he not?
From Korea.
Yeah.
Who's now living in Australia.
Also fairly new to the Brisbane club, but absolutely
making immense leaps and
yeah,
bounds.
there was a
powerhouse.
difference between like months and months and months of who's this guy at the club.
Yeah.
It seems like he's struggling, and then goes to a tournament and just
he's ripping through people.
Yeah.
The first day that he started, he was a powerhouse.
Yeah.
And then he got sore.
Yeah.
Went too hard on the first day.
And one of the cool things is for those that level on the ladder of 4 people, it's going to be a random draw. So that is going to be something that's going to come out on the pound for pound arm wrestling show.
So how you doing it with paper?
Yeah, so
drawing the
we're gonna have a live show probably maybe 2 weeks before or something like that.
Okay.
Where if those people are in Brisbane, especially, we'll get them in. If they're not, we'll get a substitute to draw the name for them, and we'll get a live draw going on, and we'll have a panel there, and then we'll interview these guys to see what their thoughts are on.
That's awesome.
On their matches and their allocations, and then we'll have, if there's a belt holder sitting there watching it all, kind of doing this. It'll be quite fascinating. But it's going to be the whole idea about this is to be able to bring genuine entertainment in for the fans that are watching and discovering arm wrestling, because arm wrestling is blowing up right now globally, and we want to give it structure. We want to get these people that are worthy of making the Armfights Unleashed ladder up in lights as they deserve to be. So. All right, middleweight category.
Well, Ryan, you yourself are in a...
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty happy. I'll be taking on Pepe Penzetti for a crack at the belt.
What's the draw so far between you guys?
I've taken on Pepe once, and I beat him. I beat him quite convincingly, but it was when Pepe was kind of on a holiday, and I don't think he was there. And you'd had a win on Pepe as well, and then you experienced the revitalized Pepe.
Yeah, just recently, earlier this year, and
he's in form. That's the man.
That's a man that
he's cut weight, and he's been training a fair bit lately. He's looking pretty.
He's looking
pretty
good.
Yeah.
Well, to give that man some more accolades, he is 2-0 on Danny Tesh.
Yeah.
He's eliminated Danny Tesh on
Worlds.
from the World Championships on 2 occasions. He's an 8-time Brazilian champion. He's won the absolute South American Championships once before, and a gazillion-time national youth champion. Finished on the podium at Worlds, his best effort, and so
very experienced.
I'm looking forward to it. I think that I can do it. Getting the straps. I think I can lead the dance, like we talked about earlier on the show. Lead the dance, and
it's a hard dance to lead.
It's a hard dance to lead.
It is hard.
He knows.
He hits.
He
hits hard.
Yep.
Yeah.
And his hand didn't look very vulnerable.
No.
Last time we saw him pull, I expected
from
that
a
hand.
man that
wrist.
values hand control. That man had a good hand.
It looks
good hand.
Anyone that I know how hard it is to hold on to you outside of straps. For me, it's impossible. And I watch Pepe just, and I'm like, what is that? Out of straps.
That was a Pepe at 100 plus.
Yes, he was 105. He's going to be 95 kilos for this one.
And he won't have jet lag either, because he was where was he coming from when he was? Did he come from Sydney at the Sydney Armfights Unleashed?
You don't get much jet lag coming from Sydney.
No, he didn't. Not at all. But he came.
He came up to
Jet
Brisbane
lag
and
from
done-
Sydney. Where?
No, the one in Sydney, because I thought he came over from Brazil.
No, he'd been there for a while. He was just enjoying his
I didn't
holiday.
know when he.
And he
moved.
also, went through Tim O'Sullivan as well in the Sydney comment on the Armfights Unleashed too. So
Yeah, he went through everyone.
Yeah, but Tim wasn't on his game that day.
And that was the first big event for Tim as well. But anyway, who else we got in that middleweight category that is going to be potentially shaking things up when we step down onto that battleground? We've got Oz Kagler from New South Wales.
Oz is dangerous.
He has been someone who's been around for a long time.
It's an awkward
He was
angle.
always kind of just the guy that was almost there.
yeah,
And it feels like all of a sudden he is there now.
yeah.
His side pressure's huge.
I'd say he's the foundation for Sydney arm wrestling.
Yeah.
Basically, he hosts the training club down there, and he's been on a good rise since I'd probably say the last year. Really feeling solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, watching him from last year's Sydney comp to this year's, he's definitely a lot better.
Yeah. And then
He's on point now.
we've got Anmol Sandhu.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a pen. Our outro guy. Thank you, Anmol. The commission's in the mail.
It's lost in the mail.
yeah. I'm sure.
Keeps getting lost.
But yeah, Anmol. I actually I rate Anmol incredibly highly. I know he hasn't had enough opportunity against opponents with credibility, because even when he pulled me, I didn't have any credibility on the international scene, and people would it's just like, oh well, you lost to Ryan, you whatever. Yeah. But he is a dangerous dude. His top roll is better than mine, hands down. His top roll was better than mine. My wrist was going. Anmol is
He's fast.
He's very fast.
He's fast, but I think Anmol's greatest strength is that kind of approaching the table type. I'm going to win before we even touch hands.
Yes, he's got plenty of that.
Intimidating.
Yeah. If you hold on to
You're
Anmol,
dead.
you're screwed.
And if he hits, and it doesn't matter if he's 6 inches from the pad or 10 inches, that's a pen.
That's a
He'll call
a
it.
pen.
He'll call it. But even if he gets 2 inches, if it's convincing enough, he explodes.
And
you just
a lot,
think, okay.
That's it. A lot of that energy does
Not you, Tom.
does create doubt, and a win's a win.
Charles Puri.
Charles Puri from New Zealand.
Puiri.
Puri.
Yeah.
Puri.
Puri. There we go.
He's very strong.
He is.
Well, he near shocked the world at Arnold's Classic earlier this year.
Yeah.
Opening
Danny.
round, Danny Tesh. I think some refs would have called it a pin.
Yeah. But you've asked Danny. He just wasn't close. I was watching. That looked close.
Yeah. Well, I was watching it and smiling, thinking, well, today's my day, because look, Danny's getting busted open in the opening round. But Danny did what he does. But even still, huge feat by Charles to even come that close.
Yeah.
And therefore, he's going to be a force in that draw for
He's
sure.
certainly getting closer. I had him. I think we were both newbies at 2016 when the WAL came to the Arnold's Classic, and we had a pretty good match. I won, but he kind of had a rough day. But he's really stepping it up. I don't know how many people he gets to train with. In
New Zealand in its entirety is growing. I think they're a little bit behind Australia for the numbers, but they are growing at a similar percentage rate.
Yeah, they've got some quality arm wrestlers there too. So.
They're all mature. We're all hitting our sort of 6-7 year mark now, and that seems to be the moment when you go from I guess just a guy who loves arm wrestling to a guy who's all of a sudden pro.
Arm wrestling.
Yeah,
Just
you're
all
a
arm
real
wrestling.
pro all of a sudden.
And then we've got Tim O'Sullivan.
Yeah, the side pressure king of Australia.
Oh, man.
He is our Toddzilla. Like, if anyone had to be Toddzilla, that's the man. His commitment to hitting sideways is ferocious. I think he needs to be named the Savage.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like even in training, it hurts.
It hurts.
Like even if you can,
stay
even
away.
if you can beat him and you can kind of catch him just here, it still hurts.
Yeah, it's like a cable tie coming down and teeing off on you.
He definitely deserves to be in that.
Yeah.
In that thing.
And he's a confidence puller as well. I think if he finds his zone,
Yes.
he's a dangerous man.
Absolutely.
If he believes in himself on the day, everyone's in trouble.
By merit, I couldn't keep him outside of strap Like I was, okay.
Yeah.
Strap time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we got the big boys, the super heavyweights division.
That's the only one that
Was
really
that everyone
matters
in the
anyway.
middleweights?
Yeah, that was everyone in the middleweights.
Tim O'Sullivan,
Yeah.
Charles,
Oz.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah, that's
Yeah, we
it.
got them all.
There is that other guy, Ryan, but he's
yeah.
already talked enough about himself.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, the super heavyweight division. We've got the belt on the line between. Give it to me.
Mate Warangi Hetomoris.
Of New Zealand, the undefeated New Zealander. When I say undefeated in New Zealand. He's taken losses in Australia, but he is the current. He won the current Oceanic Championships. You had a super match with him, and he swung around on you for a bit.
Yeah, I made some silly errors 6 times over. You know, and I had him on the after table and thought, oh, I've actually got something there. He just didn't let me do it.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't.
Matt, huge
Enforce
thick hand, posting and rolling top roll.
He's 100 and I don't know what he weighs currently, but last time he was 100.
165.
I was going to say
165,
163,
yeah.
so 165.
Yeah, and he knows how to hang all of
man.
that.
And
his
he's
arm.
of course up against last year's Australian national champion Ryan the Milkman Scott from Western Australia.
It's going to be interesting because Arnold's. Are you going to talk about Arnold's or?
No,
Arnold's. It was Ryan Scott. We saw him do some stuff that we'd never seen him before. It was a Todd Hutchings type angle, bit of back pressure and just nut. And
he had something. There was something there.
he had a stop. He had a stop.
He
And
won
I
a
think
he won a round.
Yeah.
I think.
Made it go into the tiebreaker basically at the very end, which made it all the more willing to watch.
Yeah. The thing with Mate is take him out of his groove and there's a match.
Yeah.
But he's quite aggressive in how he gets to his groove, so it can be difficult. But
it's going to be a good match. Both of those guys are absolutely elite when it comes to this region, and have been dominating for as long as I can remember. To be honest, as long as I've been involved in arm wrestling, those two names have been at the top of the super heavyweight division.
Oh yeah, I still got my eyes on them. This is my year. Though.
And then we stepped down a road and we got these two.
Why are you going to say it down? We should have started from there and then said, make me feel better about ourselves. Come on, man.
So we've got Lachlan, we've got Tom,
Yeah.
we've got
Fatali.
Doug Fatafi and Fatali Mateo.
Yeah.
They're
all great pullers.
All
Great pullers.
Brisbane, all
Great
Brisbane
pullers.
boys too,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
it's
that's
not
right.
it's not that they're guys very close knocking on the door. People like Mario Tambarkas. On his
Mario.
he's got victories over a number of these guys, but these four, Doug Fatafi, he's someone who, when I started in arm wrestling, was the national champion.
Yeah,
He
Australian
was
national champion, undisputed, beating Ryan Scott, Matt.
Yeah, he was
was
hitting
the
those
benchmark.
guys to the pad very, very convincingly. He had some time off from the sport. I believe he had Bell's palsy at one stage, and that kind of separated him from the sport for a while. And then people like yourself turned up whilst he was down, and and then he's got to climb his way back. But the thing is, we're starting to see that he won his last pound for pound tournament on the right arm and is looking like the old Doug again.
Yeah, he's got some motivation back, and that's an unusual hit. How would you categorize that hit?
Ask Branko.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's like is it a Matashenko style hit?
He sits low, gets his arm up, but he doesn't top roll. He just kind of rolls.
Yeah. It is a strange hit, but he's very much a hitter. He's not a squeezer or a catcher.
Or get him off the go, and you can from here to here. That's where your chance is. But as soon as he starts to drop and rotate,
the rotation continues.
for
a lot longer than you expect against Doug.
Yeah.
Tom, you're a big beast top roller. That's
Posting top roll.
Yeah, posting
That's
top roll.
my game.
And
Post for life or flop to die.
That's exactly right.
Nice. And then you got Big Fatali as well, who's an immense natural talent who walked into this sport already at the elite level. It seems.
Mate, that guy is awesome.
Yeah.
I've had some matches against him, win one, lose one, win one, lose one, but he's always on it.
Yeah.
He's really good.
Yeah.
Training
His
hard.
passion for the sport
His
in the
passion.
last year has really shown, getting overall left hand
He won the New South Wales titles.
And Queensland as well.
And Queensland as well,
Yeah.
At the Echo.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a monster, and it's going to be good to see all you guys throw down. And the dates haven't been released yet, but we are too far away, and
I can't
it's
wait.
going to happen. Yeah, the lucky draw. You guys might be facing this.
That would suck. That would suck.
No one wants Lachlan.
At least we can
I mean,
talk
I think
about it.
I'd like Doug. I mean, I don't remember if I got a win on him. I think I do. We've faced each other a few times. He's definitely got more wins on me than I do him.
Yep.
But it's been quite a while, and I think at my kind of stage of the sport, the gains that are being made are exponential still. They kind of slow down for a little bit, and then I asked Giannis to coach me, and things have gone up somewhat.
Yeah.
So that'll be an interesting match.
Well,
it's always going to be an interesting match because every guy's training their butt off.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah.
These are the best guys in the Oceanic region at the end of the day.
Yeah.
They really are, without a doubt. Guys, it isn't far away, but what we're going to do is we are going to wrap up the show with something special. We're going to give away a T-shirt to one of the Pound for Pound Arm Wrestling supporters. Now, if you don't know how to become a Pound for Pound Arm Wrestling supporter, jump on the Facebook group and you'll see the little badge there. Hopefully right now I've got it on the screen for you. I'll edit that one in. But you can see where to click, become a Pound for Pound supporter. It's about $5 US per month. And you too can then feature on the Pound for Pound Arm Wrestling Show. So, gents, what we're going to do is we're going to draw. They're not short straws, but they're short forks.
Short forks.
Short forks.
No, they're short knives actually. They weren't
okay.
forks, but they're knives.
Have you cut them?
2 of them are cut, and 2 of them aren't.
You should probably even those out.
All right, and so the first representative is.
So what are we aiming for?
Lauren Lancaster from Montana, USA, and Chris Meadows from Oklahoma. Yep. You guys are going to be battling through 2 of us. Okay, so Jordan, pick a knife, mate.
I'm sorry.
So are we going for the shortest win?
Jordan's got a short one. He's in the battle. So you've got Lauren. You're battling for Lauren.
I hope I do you proud.
Tom. Oh, this is who's got Chris Meadows. Oh, it's me, Jordan. All right, Chris
Just
Meadows.
the match I wanted.
All right, so we're gonna head over to the table now, and we'll get this one underway.
All right, let's do it.
Ready, go. All righty, Chris and Lauren. I got Chris. You got Lauren. This is for the Pound for Pound Arm Wrestling T-shirt.
I'm gonna get serious for you, Lauren. Ready? I'm taking off the
the shoes.
The shoes are up.
I'm moving on. I'm going to be casual and I kicked this guy's ass so bad at Queensland that I think I could just do it again and just roll through him. I probably don't even need the strap. Alright, so you good with the rules?
Are we just going running fouls?
Yeah,
let's just play by ear.
Close your thumbs, close your hands.
Anything higher than that is an elbow.
Yeah.
Bad.
Feel free to come right up, man, as well. Alright, come on, Lord.
We're gonna go on a ref script straight away, or what?
Chris Meadows, here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, look at him. He's already asking. He's already wanted stuff.
Okay, let's just go there. Let's just straighten these up just a little bit. Bring those thumbs together. Thumbs down. Close your hands. Go. It's a slip.
I almost pinned him without the strap.
In the door.
Oh, look where the strap is. Look where
The strap is where the strap is. Alright, strap us up.
Strap a dick to me. Thumbs down. Close your hands. Go. Oi! Watch those elbows, boys. Ready for it? Lauren, you ready for a shirt? Oh!
It's a pin! In the gap! Oh, you're resting
Well done. Well done.
Oh, I had to go. I was losing my hair. That was all sorts of nasty.
There was a brother
Lauren.
We won't look at that.
Chris Meadows! There it is, brother. So, Chris, we will send you a code so you can jump on poundforpoundarmwrestling.com and order yourself a t-shirt. It'll be free of charge. But, gents, thank you very much for the show, Tom.
Thanks, brother.
Jordan, you almost got me there too, you bastard. Blocky, thanks for being on the show, brother. Ooh, okay. That's quite a sign off. All right, see you guys next time.
Yeah, that's a bet!